The program you are about to hear is a production of the River's Edge Radio Network. The River's Edge can be heard 24 hours a day with the best in local Pittsburgh music at riversedgepgh.com. The River's Edge, your voice for local music. Enjoy the show. So I'm curious to hear what your description of the River's Edge studio is. We've had so many colorful descriptions of guests coming in.
The thing that strikes me is this is the best possible use of this room. In like 999 universes out of 1,000, someone is being held captive here. It's just about that. So I think I could lay down nails on the wall. And as you said, the sound is muffled, so I don't think anyone can hear me scream. This is basically like a makeshift prison cell living its best possible life.
This is literally a closet, actually. I'm looking at hangers.
Yes.
And I smell mothballs.
I've been in the closet a long time. I'm hoping to come out at some point.
It's about 130 degrees in this little closet that we're in right now.
Wait, let me just paint a picture to anybody that is not actually here. So I send a message on Facebook saying, hey, I'm here. I walk up the front door, and the next thing I see is a head that's not quite entirely in the window, prying open the window blinds and saying, oh, hi, yeah, come around to the back. I don't see a face, I don't see a body. And then, so I go around to the back, okay, and I'm met at the door with a smiling, beautiful young lady, so that's awesome.
Under construction studios, that's what you should call it.
And compared to DVE, this is paradise, right, in the River's Edge studio?
You would be surprised. I don't mean to badmouth, but anyone who is in there will. DVE, is in terms of the product, it is platinum class. Mm-hmm. The studio has not been upgraded since the DVE playlist was relevant. It really is. The microphones are probably 20 years old. It's if you want to listen into the show, like Waited in the Kitchen, it's on a dented boom box, from a Circuit City, probably a good 20 years ago. The product, perfect. The facilities, so-so. I feel pretty at home, let's just say that.
People are coming out of the closet, we're going into them.
And isn't this like the creepiest studio you've ever been in?
This is so cool. I'm not even gonna lie.
February 9th, 2015, my friend Heather Nevels and I decided to take the first step in a journey together. We journeyed up the creaky steps into an old, dust-laced attic. It was a day very similar to today. It was very cold, very miserable out. If you remember, last year was the polar vortex. But we went up into this closet, and the entire attic was being heated by a small space heater. And the entire attic. Let me just paint a picture here. This attic, where we were recording, this studio, was literally a closet. It was a closet in an attic. It was so small. My in-studio guest that day was Brad Ryan, a local comedian. He had to sit in a futon outside of the closet with this wireless shore, and that's how we were able to conduct this interview, because there was no possible way to fit 3 human bodies into this closet. This closet was creepy. There were nails coming out of the wall, weird wires. I had to run an extension cord from the opposite side of the attic all the way through across the entire house into this closet, and the entire studio was run off of that one extension cord. So we went from that to this. Today, the 1-year anniversary of the River's Edge Radio Network. It started out as a podcast, and within 1 year, we have turned into a 24-hour radio network, the only 24-hour radio network that plays only local original music here in Pittsburgh. Welcome to River Talk. My name is Brian Crawford. I am Pittsburgh's moral compass behind the microphone in the glorious Millville Studios For those of you who are here live, you can see the wonderful artwork we have on display. There are phenomenal artists here. We have two artists right here in studio, to the left and to the right of me. Here's guys, give a little wave here. You can ask them about their art. It's really a great opportunity to get to meet local artists right here in Pittsburgh who are actually making art before your eyes. That's one of the great things we have here in Millville Studios is this studio. It's not an art gallery, it's an art studio. You can actually see the art progressing over time as you come and visit the studio. So come back, see the progress, see what they're doing and where they're going. It's a great opportunity. This is the one-year party. My name is Brian Crawford, and we have a lot in store for you today. We have 4 bands, we have 4 podcasts in 4 hours. And right now, to start us off, we have Mr. Don Strange. If you want to come up to the stage, he is going to be he's part of the last group called Strange Monsters that's going to be performing here. This is the first time Don has actually talked with me on air. We've played his music for quite a while, but this is a cool opportunity to have him on as well. We're going to start off with River Talk, and then we have There You Are after that, which is a great band that's been on the network for a while. Then we have Ya Jag Off podcast after that, and we're going to continue with more music and more podcasts. Funny Money, Guy Scott Games, Spencer Allen Patrick, and Paul Kostick as well, who will all be performing here at the Millville Studios at the 1-year anniversary party. So, Dawn, how's it going? Howdy.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to hear about your new band. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Strange Monsters?
All right, so Strange Monsters is the symbiosis of myself, Don Strange,
Yes.
and the various solo projects I've had, and an awesome indie rock band named Lost Monster Trucks, whose singer, guitar player ended up moving back to Arizona, so I wasted no time in snatching his band from him.
Nice.
And forming a group together, Strange Monsters. So you have Lost Monster Trucks, Don Strange, Strange Monsters. We're actually the other way around. And that is how we came to be.
Now, is your music still in some of the similar style that you had before in some of your other groups, where you do a lot of storytelling music, which is really awesome, and that's something that I think is kind of unique. There's not a lot of storytellers in music today.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a lot of ways, it is sort of the solo stuff I was doing, probably a little more amped up, I would even say. The narrators are there. They're even a little more quirky, a little more kind of off the edge, so to speak. And they definitely resonate with that humor that was in my old stuff. But I would say it's just a little more edgy, but still in the same vein.
Now, obviously, you must be like a comic book fan or a sci-fi fan or something, just listening to the songs. There's a lot of X-Men references. Obviously, one is about Spider-Man when you're talking about Mary Jane and things like that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I can't express. I grew up on comic books, back in the Marvel days, when the Dark Knight Returns kind of broke out and everything like that. Probably one of the biggest comic book events of my lifetime, the original Secret Wars. I could talk about it for a long time, and you get my geek on. But I would say, definitely those kinds of things I always find they're a lot of fun to talk about. They're a lot of fun to sing about. And pop culture is always something that I come back to as just a touchstone point for my music and for just the way I even converse with people, kind of try to understand things, the way I talk to my kids. So Spider-Man and Mary Jane, that song that you were referencing, I was trying to figure out a way. I have 2 small children. I was trying to figure out a way to explain to them, some truths or some points that I had learned in my life that I would like to have resonate in their lives. And being sort of the oddball that I am, the best way I could say it is, Spider-Man was kind of a role model to me growing up, so these are some ways that, I learned lessons from him. And so those things have always been kind of part of who I am and what I write about.
So you're obviously more of a Marvel man than you are a DC guy.
I mean, I grew up reading Marvel in the 80s, and Marvel was the 80s. I think if I had grown up a decade later, I would have been a DC guy. Do you have
any interest in DC? My question is I want to know that they have the Superman Batman movie coming out. There's always been this big debate. I need to know you're an expert, you write the music. based on comics, who would win in a battle between Superman and Batman.
You know, DC has changed itself so many times. You know, Superman has become, you know, had these many powers in one era, these many powers in a different era. I think in the more contemporary era, where the powers that he has are a little less ubiquitous, that I think Batman's master strategizing will find a way to defeat Superman.
Okay, now if you had the opportunity to have any superpower right now, what superpower would you have and why?
I'm going to have to plead the fifth on this one.
I'll tell you right now, if I had any superpower, my superpower would be to release whatever the hell is in my throat right now. If you can't notice, I'm a little raspy. River's Edge is the River Talk Show, I should say, is kind of like the show with the black cloud that looms over it. Everything goes wrong on River Talk. Thank God you came on, or my original guest bailed on me today, just out of nowhere. Sunday, this descends on my throat, and I couldn't even talk until today. It's a miracle I'm even up here. So that would be my superpower. You can't...
Well, actually, one thought I did have was that my superpower would be that I didn't have allergies anymore.
Okay, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Which might not be so much of a superpower, but it would definitely make a big difference in my life.
So what was the name of the other band again? You mentioned there was...
So it was Don Strange and the Douche Bears.
Well, that was the Douche Bears. Yeah, we have them on your network. You did Monster, what was it?
The Lost Monster Trucks was the other indie rock band that was in Pittsburgh for several years.
What's their style like? How does that...
Their style, they were more bluesy, I would say. If Don Strange was more kind of folky and punky in certain ways, they were, I'd say, more bluesy and classic rockish.
Were you able to meld those, or did one...
Oh, absolutely. It was so easy. It's ridiculous how simple things came together. Yeah, I think we had a great rapport from the beginning.
Did it kind of create more of an original sound? Do you think you kind of took elements from both bands and kind of melded them together?
Yeah, I think so.
How would you describe where you're at now?
I think it's having a different perspective presented to you. And it sort of just opens more avenues for creativity and obviously collaboration, and I think that's what we've kind of created out of this whole kind of primordial ooze that we sort of all have within us. So for me, it's been exciting because obviously it's more collaborative, and I get to feed off of these other kinds of styles that other people bring to the table. And it took me a little while maybe to kind of get a little of the control freak thing out of my head. Not too long, but there's always sort of a thing like, I remember I'd ask a drummer to play it this way, but that's not kind of the way it is, or a bass thing to go this way. But I think it's actually made it better that I'm actually able to just rely on everyone to do their own kind of thing, and it just makes it better in the long run.
Absolutely. Now, were they used to the storytelling style of music, or is that something that they had to adapt to?
Well, what we ended up doing when we first started playing is we were playing sets, and we'd split there'd be like half of my songs, half of their songs, and a lot of their songs were very narrative driven as well. We had this great song called Arizona that was written by their former guitarist, singer, Robert Nagoda, and it's just a really kind of neat narrative about being kind of away from home and sort of desolate and kind of run down. And that was like a 5+ minute narrative about that, very scene driven, kind of puts you in the scene of the narrator, whoever the singer is. So I don't think it was a very big adjustment. I think it was just a kind of a different kind of puzzle piece fit in to what we had already kind of done separately on our own.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm excited to hear you guys. It'll be the first time I'll have had the chance to see the new band. I love your stuff already that's on the River's Edge Radio Network, so that's kind of cool. I'm going to talk about the River's Edge a little bit since this is our 1-year anniversary. We are the only 24-hour streaming, or the only 24-hour station period that plays only local music. What do you think the asset of a station like that could have on the community? What kind of an impact do you think it'll have in the music community going forward?
Yeah, I think it's awesome because Pittsburgh, I don't know, I've lived here for 13 years, and it's only gotten better and better in terms of the music scene, and not just, you know, the original people who were here kind of busting their butts getting, you know, their stuff heard and out there. They're still here, they're still doing a great job, and now there's this influx of just so many other bands and songwriters that I love. Some of them here today, like Paul Kostick and Spencer Allen Patrick, are great performers that I've seen plenty of times perform and just wow me. And it's just such an interesting time in the city. There's so much collaboration going on with different musicians. There's so many more venues now too that are, you know, just expecting local original music. It's just a fantastic time, and I think for River's Edge to be, you know, that level, that ground level, kind of to start everything kind of up is perfect timing. I can't think. It's just a great vehicle to be out there. So you have the clubs, you have the internet. You know, you gotta have everything kind of out there connected, and it's a great job you guys are doing.
Thank you. It's interesting because a lot of these bands and their music, such as yours, with the old band, not with the new band, because I haven't heard them yet, so I'm sure it'll have the same impact on me. But you get a lot of these songs stuck in your head, and I catch myself singing them throughout the day or getting them stuck in my head. It's kind of a cool sensation to know that these bands are local. They're right down the street. They're a band that you could go see for $5. It's really kind of fascinating.
Yeah, for me, like a lot of my favorite songwriters, you know, I have their albums. We always, you know, swap CDs or whatnot. Whenever they have something new, whenever I have something new, and I listen to them. They get in the car, CD changer, and once they're in the CD changer in the car, you know you're listening to it at least 6 or 7 times. Because you're always gonna get too lazy to take it out.
Oh, I'm lazy. I've had the same CD in my vehicle for ages, and that's one of the things that I like is I get to be exposed to new music through this network. And I'm somebody where, to be honest, traditional radio kind of killed the radio industry for me. And I'm somebody, I don't have the time necessarily to go out and research everything. I need to be spoon-fed a little. So I think something like this could give people that opportunity to hear new music, and they don't have to, if they have a busy life, they don't have to go around and search for all of the new music that's out there.
Yeah, I think definitely like plugging people into the scene is important. And that's a great thing you guys are doing. Yeah, instead of having to go out and, you know, spend money, spend a whole evening kind of not knowing what you're going to get or having to rely on recommendations from friends. Yeah, it's great. And I'm the same way that, you know, I end up, you know, with friends of mine, with people I kind of, or just acquaintances, listening to their music and getting it stuck in my head and just being like, wow, this is so awesome, and not even feeling guilty about it. Oh, I should be listening to, you know, that Dead Milkman album, or, you know, I should get this new release by whoever, you know, which are also awesome too. But, you know, but it's great to have local music that you're as enthusiastic about as not mainstream, but good like indie music. I think this is an indie-driven kind of project that you guys are doing, and I think it all kind of feeds together.
Yeah.
That's what everything is now. Everything is indie.
Well, yeah, and I wanted to get some advice since I have you up here. We talked about my superpower, or the superpower I would want to be able to clear this thread. Have you ever had a situation where your voice did go?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
How did you handle a situation like that? I imagine that's...
Oh my goodness, yeah, it was, I remember we played at Gorilla Box one time. We were opening for this band from Nashville called Diarrhea Planet. That's actually their name. And they were actually a really awesome band, regardless of the name. If you listen to them, you'd be like, oh, these guys are
it seems like those types of bands have the best music,
yes,
right?
Yeah. And we were opening for them, and I was like developing a case of laryngitis, and I was trying to warm up beforehand, and I could not get past like the middle of my register, and I would just break up, and I was like, there's no way I can perform, there's no way I can do this. And then, whatever it was, as soon as I got on stage, adrenaline kicked. I said, I'll just fake it till I make it. And then adrenaline kicked in, I was able to sing the whole set, and everyone was like, oh, I couldn't even tell until they talked to me afterwards. And I was like this for, you know, the rest of the evening. But people are still trying to talk to me, so it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I don't think I could have another drop of honey.
Oh, I know, yeah. Honey water.
Yeah, lemon water too. That's
lemon, honey, yes, yeah. Tried it all. I guess nothing you can do.
So where did you get your start in music? What inspired you to take up the craft? Was it, did it have to do with the comic book connection, or was it something else?
Well, a good thing and a bad thing is I grew up in a household where you were forced to take music lessons early on. My father was actually a guitar player and a singer. He, performed mostly like weddings and those kinds of events. But he also ran a music store, and he gave guitar lessons at the music store. So I guess around 7 or 8, I was kind of required to take on the mantle of learning how to play guitar. And in those days, we didn't have tablature. It was you had to learn like the sheet music. And since you were so small, you just had to learn like 10 little Indians like on the E string, and it was just so lame. It was nobody would be excited about this. If someone had to take like guitar lesson like that these days, I think they would that business would go down
not be the
chute
enterprise it is now.
in a second. But those were the traditional ways to learn, I guess. So that was kind of the way I started out. It wasn't until, of course, like around puberty, those prepubescent years, that I realized that, music could have some advantages. So I started getting serious about it. And that was actually a good time, because when you're younger, you can lock yourself in a room for 8 or 10 hours a day and just play, and just practice, and just try to learn something new, try to write something, try to do this, experiment with this instrument. Obviously, when you get older, when you try to pick up an instrument, you have very limited opportunities to practice and get better.
Sure.
Some people are naturals. I don't know if I could say I was. I mean, I was kind of forced into it, so it kind of became part of who I am. I'm grateful for that. I wasn't always grateful for it.
The life craft, the hobby, hobby until you make it big. But the hobby paying the bills balance is very dreadful at times. I know it can be impossible. For a while I was working, it was 7 p.m. to 3:30 in the morning, 6 days a week, then 7 to 7, and it's just to try and put out any type of a program, or even just put a show together, becomes very draining. Do you experience those types of things whenever you're writing music and trying to put together shows and things like that?
Yeah, I guess for me, because I guess I'm so busy with a lot of things, with my day job, with raising kids, that my time for music is very narrow. So I've become very efficient, and in terms of if I want to write a song, it's either going to happen now or it's not going to happen. If I'm going to, if we have a show book, okay, this is the show that's booked. My wife can make it, great. If she can't, then we get a babysitter. If we can't get a babysitter, then that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm a master procrastinator. I think of things in my head, and I will build a show, or I'll build a project, or build a piece of literature in my mind, and it just has to be that last minute where I'm forced with a deadline to just get it out on paper.
Yeah.
And that just seems to be the way things work. Even with creative pieces, I'll have an idea in my head that I'm going to build on, and it'll just sit there, and I just can't materialize it, and then all of a sudden I'm forced to, and it just comes out.
11th hour heroics.
Yes, exactly. So, it'll be good. I'm excited to hear you guys. You guys are going to be at the end of the program, so stay tuned for that. They're going to be on after Guy Scott game at 5:30. That's Strange Monsters. Stay tuned for River Talk on Monday morning at 6 a.m. I'm going to be telling you, well, first off, we have Amanda of Bold Pittsburgh. She's one of the hosts of our new show, Bold Lights Out, which tells you everything that you can do on the weekends. They give you suggestions and advice on where to drink, where to eat, and what's going on in the city. So you want to stay tuned for that. That's Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. Amanda's going to be on River Talk Monday morning, 6 to 8. She's going to talk about her program, and we are also going to have Mark Kyler, who is a great local musician in Pittsburgh as well. He'll be on River Talk Monday, and I am going to tell you why the Super Bowl coming to Pittsburgh is a disaster. It's an awful idea, and why if you think otherwise, you're wrong. So tune in Monday, 6 a.m., 6 to 8 a.m., riversedgepgh.com, or on the TuneIn radio app. And one thing before we sign off, I want a phone check. If everyone can hold up their phones for me. All right. Open up your app store and download the TuneIn radio app. You can follow the River's Edge right there, or you can add us on iTunes or SoundCloud, and our shows will be pushed right to your phone, and you have the opportunity then to catch every episode and not miss a single thing. So up next we have There You Are. They're going to get ready, and then you jag off after that from the Pittsburgh Podcast Network. Thank you guys so much, and we're going to bring There You Are on right after this.